Welcome back to the video series that is going through the meanings in the multiverse from the book of this same name, A Meaning in the Multiverse, A Skeptic's Guide to a Loving Cosmos. My name is Justin Harnish and I'm the author of the book, and I'll be taking you today through the meaning that is entitled The Engineering of the World Meaning. And so we're going to find out a little bit more about this very interesting meaning as we go through the video. I've been explaining these meanings and where they came from on this slide for all of these videos. I'd like to just briefly take you through this again. So these are all metaphysical speculations, and that is to say that they are where the science is going to be, or a speculation at least of where the science is going to be. So these are beyond the physics, which is the meaning of metaphysics in the truest philosophical sense. These are not metaphysics in the more New Age conception of them, where we are looking at other sort of more occult sort of ways of thinking about metaphysics. These are going to be speculations very much based on physics and neuroscience and where the science might well be in 100 or even 500 years. So these are, because they're based in science, these are all natural meanings. We are not going to be working through the pantheon of gods and goddesses in order to come up with some sort of supernatural meaning. And we are going to be talking about universal meaning again, and not a personal meaning, something that is just for us. Or if we do talk about personal meaning, we are going to talk about it in the limit that it is prevalent in the universe for most all minds, but is not something that is fundamental to the universe, like would be true in universal meaning. We are also going to talk about works versus grace meanings. And so in a works meaning, that means that we are really doing something for the multiverse, and we are working for the multiverse in order to help it with its own meaning and getting meaning out of that effort on its own. Now, what we can certainly, and we're going to talk about a works meaning today with the engineering of the world meaning, a very important way that the universe might be using our ability to create knowledge and construct technology to further the aims of the multiverse. And then there's also grace meanings, which we talked about in the last session, where those are fundamental components of the universe. The meaning is there inherent in the universe, and we don't have to do anything for it. It is graced to us. In the case of the engineering of the world meaning, it comes from a conception of reality that is based upon the process ontology. The process ontology says that it's not matter or consciousness or information that is most fundamental to the universe or the multiverse, but instead it is a process. It is an algorithm or a computation that is most fundamental. It may translate between a piece of information, into a holographic projection of matter, but it is fundamentally a process or an algorithm. So there's a lot of scientific backing for the process ontology, both from the holographic principle, which has been well detailed and well described, especially in the most recent literature by individuals such as Brian Greene and others, as well as in loop quantum gravity. And we're going to be talking about the engineering of the world meaning today, which is going to really focus in on how a process ontology, where processes and algorithms might be fundamental to the universe, how that can be meaningful to us as an intelligent species. This slide shows us one concept of what the engineering of the world meaning might look like. We have a universe that in the vast regions of the universe, it is entropy and the laws of physics driven. And that is all that's going to be able to create anything from the stars to the galaxies to the planets to life on those planets. All of that is going to be created based in this entropy and laws of physics driven universe. However, in the corner of the universe at the bottom right, driven by knowledge and the continuance of knowledge as it grows, and the scientific method helps us to build that knowledge in the universe. The definition of the engineering of the world is our ability to imagine and build complexity to overcome problems is a novel trait in the universe. Intelligent entities, like humans, engineering prowess is the result of the multiverse's distributed deep learning algorithm running either out of curiosity or as a progression towards our deep descendants who might one day be called upon to solve a dialectic question of multiversal importance. So again, here is what we've been talking about, is that our meaning is for the multiverse. We are part of a deep learning algorithm that the universe can't do on its own. It cannot drive the construction of new technology and the construction and the development of new knowledge on its own. It needs entities that have that capacity. Again, from the text, from Meaning in the Multiverse, which releases on Darwin Day, the 12th of February, 2021. Existence is fundamentally a quantum computer. This frame for the nature of reality should follow logically from what we have learned about the world. We have changed conceptions about the nature of existence before, but this restatement gives credit where credit is due. It states that the entirety of the physics community either boldly proclaims or keeps hidden in subtext when referring to the laws of physics, that the processes we have written in the mathematical language and observed time and again are running the show. Everything from their accuracy to their incongruities to the fact that we can comprehend these universal mechanisms is due to the algorithms of nature existing as algorithms, processes that serve as the instructions to run everything from the dynamism of particle interactions to the slow dance of gravitational attraction. An existence fundamentally processing through read, write, learn, compile, utilizing information and matter, enables more than just a description of the most basic building blocks of existence, but also the nature of knowledge and even our conscious experience in a computational existence. Quote, so the laws of physics not only permit, or as I have argued, require the existence of life and thought, they require them to be, in some appropriate sense, efficient. End quote, David Deutsch. The algorithms of nature are capable of meaningful learning. We don't have to imagine what these learning algorithms look like. We have examples of some of these smart subroutines in the processes closer to home. Selection process pressures from genetics and the development of knowledge in epistemology. In his book, The Fabric of Reality, David Deutsch unequivocally argues that since complex life forms exist, there is a computational subroutine, in his words, a constructor, that we know as selection, which gives rise to complexity in the face of entropy, through a process of randomization and error correction to, and in the case of life, environmental pressures. Deutsch references the work of ethnologist Richard Dawkins on the propagation of memes as another example of the computational universe's use of the selection constructor to select for the most popular idea. Deutsch goes well beyond Dawkins in his follow-up book, The Beginning of Infinity, on the epistemological subroutine in a computational universe. The epistemological process of creating better explanations, which Deutsch defines as knowledge of the nature of existence, coupled with the universal constructor that can utilize resources to make things, is only limited by the laws of physics. A virtuous cycle of problem solving to create the next machine, to tell us more about the nature of the universe, to create the next machine, is a motivation, a purpose in science and technology. The computational universe outsources the writing of new learning through our knowledge into the universe. In just our little corner of the universe, we have figured out a way to cool some small portion of a vacuum down to a billionth of a degree above absolute zero, minus 273.15 Celsius, the coldest temperature in the known universe. We know that if we find a lower temperature in the universe, closer to or achieving absolute zero, it will be due to knowledge, not purely physical systems. By framing these acts as subroutines in a computational universe, we are again thrust into the center of meaning greater than ourselves, where our collective wit in writing the solutions to the questions read to us by the universe is a deep learning problem writ large. So we can understand, of course, that a scientist in the engineering of the world, meaning could find his meaning from working away at his blackboard and understanding the equations of the universe, passing that knowledge through the scientific method down to the next generation of scientists, creating a computer or a computer program that better optimizes and understands the computational nature of existence. But we can also find meaning for other sorts and forms of culture and society that help that scientist or that erstwhile computer engineer to form those greater conceptions of science. It takes a village in the engineering of the world meaning. And of course, if you are writing the sonata or the ballad, in the case of the picture on the left, that really sparks the creativity and persuades the improvement in science of that scientist in this complex web of flow and engineering and science, then you are taking part and you are persuading that knowledge and that cultural evolution. If you are setting up a system of liberal democracy that has a large portion of its resources funding new science and innovation, you are doing your part in the engineering of the world meaning. And if you appreciate the benefits of science and technology on your life as you're doing when you're experiencing to the fullest and you're appreciating all of the nuances of modern life, then you are doing your part in the engineering of the world meaning. Meaning in the multiverse, where the engineering of the world meaning is discussed in all of its different context, alongside of the great works of people like David Deutsch, who you heard today, and their ideas, is on sale now on the on bookshelves, on Amazon, at my website, justinaharnish.com/shop, where you can get an ebook version of it, you can get a paperback version of it. And again, I'm so profoundly grateful for any of the readers and any of you out there in YouTube land who are listening to these videos and are intrigued by some universal, all-natural meanings that come from the multiverse, like the engineering of the world meaning. My name is Justin Harnish, and I am again profoundly grateful for you. Thank you.